Alright, hey you guys, it's the end of the public beta weekend for Diablo 4, and I kind of want to do a recap of the character. This is, I guess, V3. If you saw my other video, that was probably V1. I kind of made a V2 build the first night of the beta and then refined it further, so I'd say that it's very well synergized now, much better than before. My protection is way higher, my offensive capabilities are way higher. We'll demonstrate that in a bit, but first I will go over. Let's see. Let's do the spec first, then I'll show the gear and why I've picked the stuff that I have. So here's the skill tree, and what I've done here is, so I'm going with Frenzy. That makes me, attack faster, and when I'm attacking faster, I get extra Fury. It's just, Fury, and when I'm doing this, it's giving me damage reduction. Rend is the bread and butter of the build, as always, same as last time. I've just optimized better how everything works. So Rend stacked up fat, and when I hit multiple targets, I get Fury back. You'll see how this comes into play later. Rallying Cry, also another big part of the bread and butter, that we double our resource gen. We get 25 Fury when we use it. And then Booming Voice, I didn't really know where to put the points right here, because I didn't feel any of these were very conducive to the current state of the build. I used to have the movement speed, but I'm at movement speed cap right now, which I'll show you once we cover the stats. And then the real amazing aspect of the build is Steel Grasp here, which is proccing vulnerable on enemies and then berserking. And so it's making me berserk. And then I'm also slowing enemies because I have some gear that causes increased damage on slowed enemies. And then Rupture is also kind of like when I hit a nasty bleed, I just pop everything, and then that causes everything else to cause an explosion of blood. And it just bleeds around. Everything's bleeding, everything's dying, and then Call of the Ancients is basically just buffing damage, attack power. It's kind of like another rage battery. So the whole spec kind of focuses around as quick rage generation as possible into rage dumping. And so up next, we'll cover why I've used the weapons that I have. So I maxed axes, but I realized that was pointless. So I swapped my two-hander to a sword once I actually, started reading all the stuff in Diablo. It just takes a while. But I realized swords is obviously the supreme weapon for the build for two-handers. And I even ended up swapping my one-handers to swords as well, because lucky hits grant more fury, rage. You'll hear me reference it as rage in the video, whatever. All the same to me. But basically, it's all about just getting fury as fast as possible, and we're not allowed in the beta to unlock a technique. I'm sure this would be another multiplier on it. But that is why I have chosen the abilities that I have, and you'll notice that my main abilities just use the one-handed swords. The bread and butter uses my two-handed sword. The rest of my abilities, once again, two-handed sword, and no weapons. So that means that this is a stat stick. You are correct. This weapon is not used in the build at all, and that's okay. So let's go over the gear and choices. So the helmet gives me a chance when I go berserk to fortify me, which just makes me that much more protected. And since we already went over this, I get berserk every single time I steel grasp people. So basically, 1/3 of the time that I hook someone, I'm going to fortify myself. And then every time I swap weapons between my auto attack for a little bit of rage every now and then, also it does other things, which we'll cover in a sec. And then Rend, I'm swapping back and forth, and so basically both of these are fortifying me. So I'm just constantly cycling in Fortify, which you'll notice in the video once we start clearing. That's what's giving me so much healing. The stats on them, of course, I'm looking for physical damage, percent damage, strength, all stats, armor, whatever you can on whatever pieces. The gloves are obviously pure offensive piece in the game. And so I've got Rend on that, strength, physical damage over time. You can't ask for much more. The item levels of the gear, I felt, are kind of irrelevant. People were camping that 35 mob, but when you build a super character like I do, the item level is not so important as getting 3 good rolls, like good, strong rolls. And so whenever I deal direct damage while berserking, which you see how I proc berserking by hooking things in and then rending, I have a chance to inflict 40%, or not a chance, but I'm guaranteed to inflict 40% of the base damage dealt as additional bleed. So anytime I hook something in, I'm getting extra bleed. This is where the magic really starts to happen. That's why I'm Artemis, the magic coordinator. This is all magic. And so everyone in the beta right now says barbarians are terrible. I guarantee after you watch me clear a dungeon, you're going to say, holy shit, what is wrong with barbs? Why are they so strong? Because math. So up next is my pants. So while I'm injured, my potion also grants me 39% of my maximum life as a barrier. Barrier is key. And then it's also imprinted and I got kind of a low imprint roll, but I don't really care to change it right now. I get a barrier, and so barrier gives me damage reduction. So, and you'll notice that I also have damage reduction while fortified. So once again, we come back here, I'm fortified all the time, so I'm taking 25% less damage because of these gems. So you're starting to see a pattern here, and I'm giving myself barrier with potion and barrier on engage. So I have barrier uptime of about 50%. It's important. Up next, my boots make me move super fast, 56% increased movement speed whenever I do this. And so that combined with my already 25% movement speed, you can see I'm very quick. Movement speed on the boots, all stats, fury cost reduction, just because once again, I'm trying to reduce the cost of Rend while also reaping Rend back. This gives me, when I pop the right cooldowns, I can actually Rend and gain rage off of Rend, which is probably a crazy concept, but I've managed to make it work. So you'll see when I'm around a lot of enemies, I can infinitely Rend and it gets crazy. So direct damage against bleeding enemies has a 40% chance to stun them. All right, that's good. It's just, I'm randomly stunning things. All right. But that also synergizes with something else coming up. So next up is my two-handed stat stick mace. You see I have damage over time, vulnerable damage, ultimate damage. If this was a perfect item and I could play more, I would obviously try to get rid of the ultimate damage on the item and turn it into close range damage. But I don't have the stuff to reroll it right now, and I don't really have the time to care. Up next, magical weapon number 1. Deal 31% increased damage whenever you have a barrier active. So we just went over the fact that I create barriers from drinking potions, and I create barriers by engaging enemies. So whenever barrier's up, I'm cracked out on the damage. Oh, and of course we have damage over time gems because we're a bleed build. We don't care about crit. So a core skill, that is crit. All stats, that helps with everything. Damage to close enemies, hey, great. Up next, same thing here, which I have some 410 item power weapons. Maces are no good for the build. As we went over and saw, swords give me rage. Maces deal extra damage when stunned. I'm not really a stun build. So up next, we have stunning a bleeding enemy deals 38% of their bleeding amount to them as physical damage. So you're already starting to see there's a lot of things that are inflicting extra bleeds, stunning things, and causing extra bleeding damage. And so anytime that I basically hook stuff in, I have like 5 or 6 different procs that can go off, and they do. And that's what creates these weird combos where I just suddenly kill things sometimes because everything lines up. So that's basically what's going on here. Damage to close enemies, core skill, damage over time, lucky hit to execute noob mobs. And then this is the best item in my build right here. This is really what makes the magic happen once I realized that, oh my god, level 10 sword expertise gives 20% extra bleed. And then after I kill something, it gives 30% extra bleed. So I'm like fucking bleeding. Like dude, I'm just cutting people in half and they're bleeding out. So damage to close enemies, strength, damage over time. All just monster stats for my character. The 14% crit strike damage, the crit strike damage, overpower damage, those are all worthless rolls on these items. I do not care about those at all in the build. So, skills deal up to 56% extra damage when a primary resource is cast, receiving maximum benefit when you have full primary resource. So, the more rage I have, fury, the higher this bonus is, up to 56%. If I could play more, I could probably get a better roll and get somewhere close to 68%. So, just pretend we had 12% more damage. You're going to see me run and go, why would you need 12% more damage? Well, because it's Diablo. Up next, ring slots and amulets are just pure damage. That's all they are. So damage to slowed enemies. Once again, you saw that when I bleed things, I snare them, so I increase the damage. Vulnerable damage increase, which I'm vulning everything, and damage to close enemies. And then the beauty of it, I've got a 40% chance to gain 20 fury when Rend deals damage to at least one enemy. You also saw that I have in my spec, this guy, whenever I deal damage to enemies, I get 4 fury back per enemy hit. So you're starting to see that Rend can cause me to just start reaping rage. And when I reap rage, you'll see the real best piece of the build is coming up. So up next we have our other ring. Damage over time, maximum life, kind of a useless roll, but beggars can't be choosers. Damage to close enemies, and then vulnerable damage again. And then killing an enemy with a core skill, Rend, refunds 16% of its base fury cost. So everything I'm doing is like feeding fury back into the character. So you're like, oh no, Artemis, what happens if you hit 100 fury? What are you ever going to do? You waste all that fury. Wrong. I thought of that too. So Each point of fury you generate while at maximum fury increases your next core skill by 6%, up to 180%. So yeah, anytime I rage buffer past 100%, I'm basically making my next hit insane and guaranteeing to one-shot stuff. So I've got resist all on it, that's standard. Movement speed, once again, more fury cost reduction. So you'll notice the fury cost reduction stuff pairs. So we've got movement speed on the boots, 12.6. We've got 13.3 here. Fury cost reduction, healing received, who cares about that? And +1 to defensive skills, worthless. But we couldn't find a better necklace. I really wanted the move speed. I really wanted the fury cost reduction. I couldn't find anything better with the limited playtime once again. So all of that combines for basically an absolutely insane monster of a character that just bleeds the hell out of everything. And sometimes everything just dies instantly and you don't even really know what happened. And that's Diablo. So let's take the character for a spin, but we'll cover this real quick. This is just random materials I found. Never found any Fiend Rose. Don't know where it was in the beta. Don't care. That's why I can't reroll items, legendaries, because I'm not going to go run around like a jackass and pick flowers. I don't care. I kill shit. So up next, Iron Chunks, also useless. Scattered Prisms, these help socketing things. We already socketed everything. So, and then, you know, random stuff, upgrading. If I played more and got more gold, I'd finish upgrading, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 upgrades worth probably about 1 million gold. This is what I would estimate the cost. I think this is 100k, 300k, that's 400k. These are 120s. So yeah, like 600 and then 700, 800, something like that. It's probably 850k, I guess. So that covers that. And then let's look at our stats. So strength doesn't appear to be doing much. I'm sure in the end game it will. My bludgeoning weapon damage, once again, there's no abilities in this build that makes use of this, so this is purely a stat stick, and a fat one at that. Up next, we've got no critical strike chance, because we don't care about critting, and we don't care about critical strike damage. You can't crit a bleed, so it doesn't matter to me. The real amazing part of the build is the vulnerable damage, the all damage, the damage versus slowed, the damage versus close, the damage with physical, the damage with bleeding. All of these things combined with the core damage, they're all multipliers that all stack up together. So you're seeing that I have like, 400% extra bleed damage depending on how things go. My armor's pretty fat, my healing's pretty fat, and I get a huge damage reduction while fortified. So that combined with my armor, combined with my defense already, combined with my all resist on these things, you'll see that I'm extremely, extremely tanky with a 17% fury cost reduction. So that means that my rend is, reduced by 20%. So instead of 35 rend, we're, doing a 29 rend. So that's basically what happens with that. And then my movement speed, as you can see, you're only allowed to have a maximum of 125%. So the boots and the necklace combine. And you're like, Artemis, you did all this in only 6 playable days? Yes, I did. And I could do a lot better if I had more time. But it doesn't matter. So let's take it for a spin now that you know all the math behind my character. And I didn't follow a guide. I literally made this up. Maybe you'll find another YouTuber smarter than me. I doubt it. But I basically combined all the stuff that I found, going through the bank, etc., taking items, looking at it and going, okay, trash, 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 and then starting to separate stuff that I thought was going to synergize well. Once again, the coolest thing that I found was last weekend, but it's useless to the build, even though it's unique. It's unique and unique enough that I can't use it because it's useless. So let's go kill stuff, and I'll probably do, I guess, 2 or 3 runs, and you'll be like, wow, I didn't know that Barbarian was so crazy. So yeah, let's go kill shit.
I must wait. I need more fury. I must wait. I must wait.
So there's a quick little run, then we'll just pop back to town. Obviously we got conduit there, you know, not exactly what I was expecting, but you know, can't complain when you get conduit. So basically the act of resetting the dungeon kicks us out, so we just, you know, save time and then just right back into it.
I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough fury. I must wait. I don't have enough fury. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Need more fury. I must wait.
So there's another quick one. So you see sometimes the stuff just lines up and things just die, like I can't even put my sword in it and make it pop. It just dies instantly. Like I really actually need group health, like a 4-player dungeon worth of group health, because in solo you can see that it's just it's extreme overkill, especially when things line up. Like the biggest nastiest mob in the start sometimes will just die. So we'll do like 1 or 2 more and you get an idea for the build. And we're quite quick, as you can see. Quite fast at moving.
I'm out of fury. I must wait.
So like we just literally one-shot him. So that's what I mean by like it does so much damage sometimes.
I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough fury. I must wait. I must wait.
Like, see, that guy didn't even get a chance to bleed there. That's what I'm talking about. It's like sometimes it just, you know, the procs line up and that's that.
I'm not ready yet.
Or I stick my sword in and they just pop like a balloon. Oh, here's another speed pylon. Channeling too, look at that.
I must wait.
So you can see like the farm is just insane. I think we'll do one more and we'll call it on that. Maybe we'll see Butcher, maybe not. But yeah, hopefully you're thinking like, wow, you know, I heard Barb was terrible, but you know, after watching Artemis's video, maybe Barb's not so terrible, and it turns out it's just everyone else that's terrible. And you know, as someone who's played video games for the last 20 years, I can tell you that no, it's everyone else that's terrible. It's not the class. It's them. They're the problem. If you just sit here and do the spreadsheet game for a little bit and line up all the stuff, you can put something together like I did. And I'm sure there's going to be better stuff on release, but just imagine how this build will scale into high tier. I'm a defensive powerhouse. I'm an offensive powerhouse. What more do you want? I clump things up, like, you know, I grab enemies. We just slay stuff, you know, pop them like a balloon. And just run and swing and run and swing. And anytime I get density like this, you see I can just kill stuff and I can get rage back and then pop it, and then that kills all his friends, and then that kills all his friends. So that's like 2 elites there. And the act of that elite dying killed all the other little baby minions. So it's just like, man, the synergy is just so nice. I just go and start just stabbing everything, you know? No regard for life, just meat cleaver. There, he just got one shot, just like whoops. And on to the next. Here's one. I'll just right click. I didn't even get a chance to stab him. And he's dead too. And just grab that and move on to the next. And it's like those are elites, you know, these are the things that everybody wants to farm right now. And they just die instantly. Oh look, here's one that fell behind, pops like a balloon. And we just grab all the loot and we run back, hit the chest. Looks like we got something else here. Oh, he's dead. That was another boss, just died instantly. And you know, we've got all our skills lined up, so we'll just yoink him, stab, explode, stab, 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 stab. Like, you can just rend so many times and that's it, dungeon over. So, pretty cool build, huh? You like Barb now? You're like, damn, I had no idea. No idea, dog. Yeah, that's how it's done. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and that concludes the build. I'm surprised we got so unlucky with legendaries, but it doesn't really matter. Look, another useless item right there. Can't do anything with it. But yeah, that's basically it. I guess this could maybe be a better stat stick in theory. You know, damage over time, vuln. Let's see here. We got vuln, all stats, close enemies. Maybe we could roll that lucky hit into damage over time. I don't know. The game's gonna shut down anyways, so I hope that you liked it.
This will be your last stupid mistake.
Be your last stupid mistake, overlooking Barb just because some noobs on a forum told you it's bad. You know what I'm saying? So don't listen to the noobs. Do the math yourself. All right. I'll probably make some more videos, but wrapping it up for Magic Coordinator Artemis. Hopefully this helps you on your Barb adventures. Or if you see a friend of yours that plays Barb and he's complaining, tell him to suck it up and stop being such a pussy. Watch Artemis's video and learn to play. All right. See you for my next video later.